Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are, whatever time zone you're in. I'm Hot Rod Bob, along with Randy Kerdoon, Don Cood, and Steve Cox here on GAAS, the Great American Auto Scene. It's a special edition coming to you live, only recorded at an earlier time. So we're getting ready to go and hope you're going to enjoy it. It's going to be on YouTube, Facebook, and many other sites. So please join in, tell your friends about it, share it, and tell everyone you know. Remember, GAAS brought to you by Service Tech Equipment and Drag Cartoons, Robin Millar and Pete Millar. All right, so here we are, and tonight we got a special guest. We got a new introduction to the show, Don Cood, and a special guest, Steve Cox. And Steve's got a great racing series that just had its first race kick off at Bakersfield. And why don't you each introduce yourselves to everybody so we know who you are? We'll start off with the young lady. That's you, Don.
Hi, I'm Don. I'm dropping the phone during my introduction.
That was good.
Hi.
We'll just start calling you Grace. That's
to break the ice. There it is. There it is.
Okay, there you are.
Steve, your turn.
My turn. Hi, my name is Steve Cox. Do I have to click on this picture or anything, Bob?
Nope, you're fine.
Okay.
Don't do anything. Just keep talking.
Okay. I just been around drag racing actually most of my life. Started racing when I was 8 years old. We won't tell you how old I am now, but definitely a senior plus.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my parents were famous Pontiac drag racers back in the 50s and 60s. And then we got into off-road motorcycle racing. And then my dad passed and he ended up moving up to the high desert and started drag racing.
All right. Now, when you started drag racing, when I met you, is what we figured out was about somewhere around 35 plus years ago.
Yes.
You were riding a converted dirt bike, wasn't it?
Yes. Yes.
And we called it the inch pincher.
Penny pincher.
Penny pincher. Penny pincher. Okay. It was a pincher of some sort.
I suddenly got uncomfortable.
Well,
close enough.
I used to give him a hard time because he'd shift so hard, he would actually lift himself off the seat. So as he's going down the track, you could always tell when Steve was shifting.
That was entertainment, Bob.
Oh, it was.
That was
we had fun.
WWE of motorcycle drag racing.
And you raced against cars at that time, I believe.
Yes.
And would really piss them off because you cut great lights and you were consistent as can be on a vehicle that had no electronics, nothing to control it other than your throttle in your hand.
Correct.
All right. Now you moved on, you went to a bigger bike, then you went into a car. You started with a Nova, and the Nova ended up going to your daughter started driving that, and you moved on to a Camaro you've been running for a number of years. But as of late, you started your own racing series. Why don't you tell us about that?
Yeah, we actually were participants in the NMCA West show out at Fontana and Bakersfield for a few years. And then in 2017, they announced they weren't coming back. So me and a good friend of mine, Dan Marciano, we decided, and Gary Marino, to take a look at what classes were predominant. And it was all the 510s Pro Light classes. So we created a series in 2018, basically a bracket race, non-electronics, 850 to 1399 dial-in. And then we did that for a couple of years. Our average was 20 plus cars, not bad for a single little group. And then this pandemic came along in 2020 and pretty much kiboshed that. So this year we decided to add a senior class. So we have on our Facebook page, SoCal Point 5 Pro Light Senior Series, we have approximately 200 members. So 200 members so far.
Good.
Wow.
So yeah,
impressive.
we're just kind of branching out to test the waters, and so far the hard part right now is getting people to go. Everybody's still, especially out here in California, still a little panicky right now, don't know if they want to be around people and so on and so forth. But we went to Bakersfield a couple weeks ago, and Mark Dawson and his crew did an awesome job. We only had, how many members we have? 10? Yeah, we had 10, which was okay, considering we probably lost half just because of this COVID stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But all the seniors that have joined our group had a great time. So we're just going to continue moving forward. We're waiting to get another weekend up at Bakersfield for this year. I actually, clear back in 2006, got together with Chris Blair, who used to be the track manager in Vegas, and running what they called a geezer gambler at their turkey event that they had over Thanksgiving week.
Okay.
So the first year he did that, he just figured he would try it. It was just a $50 gambler. We had 71 entries.
Wow.
He called me up in the tower, and he was absolutely blown away that there were that many seniors that were drag racing.
All right, describe what a senior is.
Yeah, what's the age range?
In our case, it's 65 and older.
Okay.
Okay.
Well,
when
that
we
is
ran,
a good turnout.
Yeah. Well, back then it was 62, I believe, but we ended up changing it to 65. So every year, Chris is moved to Missouri and manages track there. And Jeff Foster still runs that geezer gambler, and they get numerous cars in that program. And the thing of it is, being I raced motorcycles for so many years, a lot of organizations have senior class, whether it's SCCA or District 37, Desert Racing, they actually have 2 senior classes. And, there's a lot of baby boomers out there that still have hot rods, that are interested in doing something that's, for that group. So that's what we're doing. We're trying to get this program, off the ground. I actually have 12 sponsors that are involved. I know one particular gentleman, 2 of them actually, Bob Beck of GAAS and Randy. They are actually our award sponsor. And then we have a whole nother list of companies that are on board. So it's kind of a fun thing to do. I actually have meetings once in a while with companies that are involved with us and, see how things are going. So far, so good.
Are you going to be going back up to Vegas?
I don't think so. I know we're going to go to Bakersfield once they get another weekend cleared. And we're probably going to go to Verona also. We're kind of hoping that Fontana will open at the end of the year, but, we don't know what's going on with that.
Randy, you had a question?
No, I was just going to say things we do to get the logo. Where is it? Over here. I can't even figure out where I am. The logo out. There you go. And of course the logo right behind you there, Bob. When you talk about the number of cars that do these things in the races that you expect to come out with, I'm always kind of curious what the situation is as far as the points. This is a point system, isn't it? That when you start,
Yes.
it's going to be is talk a little bit about how the points, where the points come from for the standings, because after all, you are the defending champion.
Yes,
and you own the company.
No, my wife does.
Oh, okay.
So anyway, yeah, Cecile's a big help. She helps me with a lot of behind the scenes stuff. But we have a points program. You get 20 points per round that you race. You get entry points, which is another 20 points. And then if you make it to the final, the runner-up gets an additional 11 points and the winner gets an additional 25. So we keep a tally on those throughout the season. And then at the end of the year, our plan, I'm pretty sure we'll be able to get this taken care of. We always have a banquet. We didn't have one last year.
But you also have, which I think is hysterically good, is kind of an attendance clause for points. Isn't that true?
Yes. Yes. In other words, the more races you go to, the more bonus points you're going to get, even if you lose first round.
All right, so that you're trying to entice people just to show up, to at least want to be part of this.
How great would that have been if we were in school and just for showing up, we ended up getting points toward a grade? How great would that have been, right, Bob?
Yeah.
Right, Don?
Extra credit.
Right.
Extra credit.
I need all I could get.
Absolutely correct. We also have a bonus program.
You guys kind of lost me.
Uh-oh.
Why did we lose you,
Don? You guys lost
Don?
me with all those numbers because I couldn't count that high when you were talking about the points.
Bob, didn't you send her like a calculator or what's that thing with the beads?
The abacus.
Beads?
The abacus. Yeah. There we go. The abacus.
She has 10 fingers and 10 toes. Come on.
Well,
yeah, that's what I used.
Yeah,
works for me, Bob.
So if it's higher than 10, I'm just out of luck, guys.
Yeah,
you just multiply times 2 or
3 or whatever the case may be. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, all right, Steve, back to your history, though. Your parents had a big influence on drag racing. And Don, you had a question about Steve's mom.
I so want to hear about your mom. I did a little research and read that she was the first woman to win in her class at a national event, and she campaigned because she couldn't run Indy, and she snuck in at another track by putting on some coveralls. Oh, that sounds like my kind of lady right there.
That was at El Mirage.
Good job, Mom.
Yes.
Oh, yes, that's right.
She did not know the definition of no.
Yeah.
That's so awesome.
So tell us about your mom. Tell us what kind of car she drove, how long she drove, what her achievements were, because obviously she was the first one to win, the first female to win a national event. That opened the door for a lot of people like Shirley Shahan and Bunny Burkett and so forth.
Basically, Mom's program was Mom and Dad raced back in the early 50s at Santa Ana Drag Strip. Okay, and then as time went by, right around 58, our Oldsmobile, my dad actually had a dealership sponsor. He bought a new car every year and drove it to work and drove it to the drag strip. So anyway, they even had 4-wide racing at Santa Ana. I have pictures of 4-wide racing. Pretty interesting stuff.
Well, I didn't know that.
Yes. So as time went by, Mom was creating her own resume. So in 1961, early 61, my dad bought a 61 Pontiac 389 tri-power. It even had electric windows. There was a reason for that. And they started racing at Pomona locally. And my mom never got beat. Of course, me and my dad worked on that car a lot. So time came at the end of 61 to go because they missed. Excuse me, I'll be right back. So sorry, I didn't want that noise.
That's all right.
Okay.
So anyway, they went back to the 61 U.S. Nationals. at Indy, and they towed our 61 Pontiac with another 61 Pontiac that my dad built the motor for. It was a gentleman that had polio. He was crippled, and a good friend of his drove the car for him. So anyway, they towed back there, and NHRA told my mom that they do not allow women to race at a national event.
Oh, boo! Sorry.
Yes, big boo.
Yeah.
So anyway, Dad drove the car and won, and then they actually drove the car back home. And as soon as my mom got home, my grandma was one of the editors at the Herald Examiner, and they had big parties with celebrities that came to my grandparents' house and so on and so forth. Well, the people that told Mom she couldn't race had no idea the influence that our family had politically. So long story short, she went on a campaign, talked to local congressmen. They wrote up letters. A TV network came out to Lions Drag Strip, did a video back then of bomb racing, and she just happened to win that day. That was kind of unique. And the local paper came to our house. So anyway, she got all of this news media attention, and had the proof, you know, that she could handle racing a car. And the 62 Winter Nationals rolled around, and guess what? Mom was racing at Pomona. So that was actually a very unique situation. My dad went to work for Mickey Thompson. So him and Hayden were building Pontiacs back then.
Right.
And Dad won in his class and Mom won in her class. And she had unbelievable amounts of fans. It was just amazing the amount of people that would come down in our pits. They all love Carol Cox.
Wow, that's an amazing story. And
I love her.
The legacy continues on. Your daughter races and you race.
Used to race. Yeah, she's not. They moved to Utah, so her and Kyle and the kids are up there.
And they shut down the only track they had.
Yes.
In Salt Lake.
That kind of kiboshed everything for me to take the car up there and go racing.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing you can do up in Utah now is Bonneville.
Yep. No drag strip.
No drag strip.
Hey, Steve, how much do you remember about when your dad worked with Hayden Prophet?
Quite a bit.
He's a pretty intense guy. How was that?
Hayden was, yeah. I don't know. Him and my dad got along great. They built the 62 Pontiac AFX car together. My dad, actually, Hayden drove it at the Winter Nationals, and then Dad drove it at Indy, and they both won with a car. But that was kind of a short-term situation for my dad. He only worked for Mickey for a couple of years. Then he branched out on his own. I mean, my dad, I don't think he ever slept. I don't think our phone ever stopped ringing.
Wow.
That's awesome. So you flat towed that car to Indy. How far is that? That's crazy.
It was 1,850 miles, I think, from our house to there. Flat towed that car behind another 61 Pontiac. And you know what? The uniqueness of that story is both cars won at Indy.
And you drive them on the street. That was the days when you could drive on the street and race.
Oh, yeah.
Unfortunately, you can't do that any longer, but except a lot of some of the bracket guys do. But in stock eliminator, which is what your parents drove in, that was the norm. Little shoe polish and took the hubcaps off.
Yep. Well, we changed the tires, and changed the plugs, and changed the jetting, and it was a family project.
Me, though.
Yeah. But those are pretty minor things compared to what the guys do today. I mean, today now in stock, super stock, you change valve springs after a weekend of racing.
One of the many.
Yeah, one of the many,
items.
and if they make it that long, there's so much other stuff done. Your Camaro, though, and even your Nova, are pretty stock looking from the outside.
Yes.
What kind of ETs are you running with the Camaro?
My Camaro, this past weekend, of course, I had 100 pounds of weight in it. It ran 10 teens, so it would run 10 O's at Bakersfield, pulls the front wheels up a little bit too high at Bakersfield when the air is really good. I mean, it pulls them up about 4 feet.
Wow.
But at Fontana, I wouldn't do that because the altitude's a little bit higher.
So you've got a small block engine in yours or a big
Small block 383 Dustin Lee engine,
Okay.
cast iron heads, dark cast iron heads, not aluminum heads. And I also run a flat tappet cam, not a roller cam.
So
That car is gone.
And you're an all steel body.
All steel body, that car with me in it. I weigh 175, race ready, weighs 3,100 pounds. That car has all the original fenders, not the hood, but the hood's steel and all the original glass, no plexiglass.
Now, for those of you, you heard the name Dustin Lee. Dustin Lee started out, his dad was a dragster driver in SCETA, the Southern California kind of dragster association. Dustin was just a little kid that hung around, he and his brother. Dustin started building junior dragster motors.
Yes, he did.
And one of the pro stock ladies, Erica Enders, was one of his customers. And he used to bring engines down to Pomona for them. They had a whole row of them in the back of their trailer. So he was an engine builder, starting with the junior dragster motors. Now he builds everything and anything, and he is a whiz with the Chevrolet LS series engines.
Yes. Yeah, he definitely is a whiz.
Yeah, he's the guy to go to. You want an LS motor to run? That youngster's
That's the guy you want to see.
Yeah, he's got a 6-second dragster with a single carbureted LS powered motor.
Yep. With with a 4-barrel on it, with a Holly 4-barrel.
Just a single 4-barrel. That thing is just running.
Yep.
All right, and Cecilia, is she ever going to get behind the wheel?
My wife?
Yeah.
No. I've tried.
You tried. Why don't we introduce her, since she's your support team there?
Honey.
We want to see you.
You have to come say hi.
I'm at work.
She's doing her job while we're talking.
Hello.
I'm at work.
Hi,
You're at work. Oh, okay. We thank you for all the help you provide and such, and the support to Steve. I knew, like he said, I've known Steve for many years, long before he was able to meet you. But you definitely kept him going strong. That's good.
Oh yeah, because that's his passion. So I really want to support him. I don't want him to stop doing it.
Yeah, I don't drink. I don't do drugs. So what else do I got left to do? Huh?
Keeps him alive and kicking.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah,
Very good.
I'm alive and she kicks me.
That's it. Yeah, it's a wife's prerogative. Yeah, understand completely. All right, we do appreciate you coming on.
Well, I need to go.
All right,
Thanks,
have fun.
Okay.
guys. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Bye,
Take care.
Thank you for coming.
So Steve, I'm curious.
Yes, sir.
real quick, you had talked about how your family had also driven Pontiacs in the 50s.
Yes.
What year Pontiacs are we talking about?
The first one my dad bought was in 58. And the uniqueness about
car.
Those Pontiacs was the transmission, the automatic transmission. They had a lot of issues with them. So finally, my dad decided, being an engineer, he decided, I'm done. I'm tired of taking this car over to the dealer and them not fixing it. So he went to night school, transmission school, and he developed his own shift kit. So it was a modification to the valve body, which would make the transmission shift harder and last longer. And then when we got our 61, he did the same thing. And of course, his competitors, I cannot tell you how many times my poor mom got protested. I mean, we always carried gaskets. Oh, it got really old after a while. The car was 100% legal and 100 pounds overweight. It's just that, you know, my dad did 3-angle valve jobs. He did everything, you know, right at the maximum point as far as tune-ups and all that. And the car ran good for what it was.
Mm-hmm. What kind of ETs were they turning?
The best that car ran was 1284 at 110. Not bad for a 4,000-pound car.
Yeah, I mean, think about it. I
In
remember
1958.
factory parts.
Yeah, well, and I remember at LACR we came up with the 1290 heads-up index for a while.
Yes,
And
Super Street.
Super Street.
Or Super X.
Super X.
Super X.
Super X. And I drove a Nova.
You're looking at the NHRA Super X champion.
Yep. I drove once. A buddy of mine and I built a 70 Nova with a 350. That 350 is still living on in a streetcar today, but we would run right on 1290, shifting at 5,500 RPM. But everything was solid mounted. The subframe was solid mounted. We had frame connectors. We had solid mounted engine. I don't even remember who the rear
Pretty
end
much
was.
same stuff I had.
Yeah, and it was fun, but no interior, full roll cage or 7-point cage, and a nice 350 roller rockers, all just the attention to detail like you do. Don, do you have any questions for Steve?
You know what? I really wanted to hear about his wife and his daughter. You know, I'm all about the chick thing going.
Racing, yeah.
How about your grandkids? How about your grandkids? Do they show any interest?
My real quick,
How
my
old are
daughter, she was one of the first junior dragster racers, clear back. She was 11, so that was 93. She did that for a couple years and then did real well, won a championship, and then got into racing my El Camino streetcar in the high school series. She did well on that, won the series, and then quit. My grandkids, my grandson is 17 now, and that's Caleb. And then my granddaughter, she'll be 10 this year. They love going to the races. When Fontana was open, my daughter used to live in Rialto. So, I mean, Auto Club Dragway is right down the street from where they lived. Is only 35 miles for us. So it was always a family affair, which was a lot of fun.
Love that.
Yeah.
Love that.
But to answer your
you so
question, no, Caleb hasn't raced. Like I said with Bob earlier, they moved up there 3 years ago and there's no drag strip up there.
Yeah.
But he's an awesome kid. He works, he goes to school, high school full time. They actually have welding and auto shop class. And
that's great.
Yeah, he's done all that, and he's kind of thinking about maybe becoming a welder once he gets out of high school, but he's got a couple options there. He likes working with his hands. I'm not sure where he got that from.
And you're a mechanic by trade, is that right?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, so
I have the bad back to prove it.
Grandpa.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Steve, I thank you for joining us. And again, we'll have this up for you. I'll let you know when it's available. And
sure.
Thank you. Give my regards to everybody.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate your time, guys and gals.
No problem.
All right, Steve.
Thank
thanks.
You. Yeah. All right, Don, you were at a great event this past weekend that I missed out on.
Yes.
But I saw the pictures too.
Yes, I saw pictures too.
And I saw the cars. That was pretty cool.
Tell us about it, because it was an amazing turnout, I understand.
So that car show was started by Patty Fairchild, who is an auto body instructor at El Camino College. In 2014 was the first year, and it was at the school. And there were some logistical problems with having it in years following. So there were a couple of years when it just didn't happen. And of course, all of us girls were so happy initially because it was very chickish, and it was all about us.
Okay,
And
but it's all about you. But
in
why don't you tell
2017
people what the show was? What's the name of the show?
Oh, well, it started out as Girls in the Garage, which was Patty's program at El Camino, and now it's called the Women's Car Show.
Okay.
But it came to the Automobile Driving Museum in 2017 and got canceled last year, but it has been there ever since. There were 150 cars pre-registered, and people showed up that were not registered. So I am not sure how many we had there. There's also a vintage fashion sale. So it was great.
And they
the
had
girls
musical
looked
groups.
Great. The cars were great. I beg your pardon?
They had musical groups too.
They did.
Mm-hmm.
And there was 3 gals singing, and I can't remember the name of the band.
They were really good, though.
I'm so sorry.
Yes.
Like the McGuire sisters
they were
or something
really
like that.
Good.
All right. Now, what are the qualifications to be in this show?
Female owned or female co-owned, and we do like the ladies to drive the cars in.
I know I was a passenger one year.
We let the husband come, and sometimes they insist on driving. Yeah. I think we were generous letting them come.
I think so too. I mean,
No, it was great. It was great. Yeah, it was great. Everything that I know about cars, I learned from men. So I love my car people. The men, the women, was great.
All right, now you're getting
really
you're getting more involved into the women's movement in cars, and you are one of the prime movers behind this car show, correct?
I hope to have more involvement in upcoming years, but yeah, I was part of it actually initially coming to the Automobile Driving Museum, but the management at the museum is also female, so that helps. We're all trying to support each other and make stuff happen. Wonderful.
And
Mitzi was also there with the pinup girls.
Mm-hmm.
Mitzi's photography.
Right.
Beautiful. Beautiful day.
All right. Why don't you give a little background on you? You're new to GAAS, and hopefully you're going to become a regular co-host here with us. Tell us a little bit about your background in cars, because it's quite extensive too.
Well, first of all, thank you so much for the invite, and I was quite flattered because you guys are just the best. My dad raced at Lions when I was a kid, a tiny kid. I actually, he was the president for a while of the Ford Drag Club, and my mother was the secretary. They were sponsored out of Chafee Motors in, I believe it was Hawthorne. And when that track was closing, I actually was 5 years old and signed the petition to keep the track open. So yeah, I've been around for a minute. I grew up under the big blue Ford Oval until I was introduced to my beloved small block Chevy when I was 12 or 13, and at which point I crossed over to the dark side and broke my dad's heart.
Oh my
yes,
gosh.
yes. I bleed Chevy orange. I do. It's true. Just as I got older and was doing the car thing and got boyfriends that were doing the car thing, and I got into auto body and paint when I was about 16, and sold auto body paint and supplies, and was part of a custom shop in Bellflower until I was 26, and
just a couple of years ago.
Then I went from there. Yeah, yesterday. And so I left the auto body and paint supply and went to work for Robinson Helicopter. So I've always had these kind of guyish jobs. But, it all worked for me. Helicopters, cars, all good, right?
Yeah, all engine powered.
Same thing, only different.
Hey, the Tucker was helicopter engine powered. So
That's
why
right.
not?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There's a correlation there.
Tucker is my favorite car, actually.
Good.
I love the story of Tucker. My favorite car. Yep. Favorite car. Have yet to see one in real life, unfortunately. But yeah, love that story.
We have.
American
We've
ingenuity.
seen several.
Fabulous.
We've seen several. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thanks for that, Randy.
I just thought I'd one up you. This is kind of like roasting on the first show. Right. There you go.
We get even. Don't worry.
You're a pal. You're a pal, babe. Thanks for that. So anyway, I still have my 66 Chevelle convertible that I have had since I was 19. So if 26 was yesterday, so 19 was probably like last weekish.
Yeah, sure.
But yeah, we've been together for a number of years. My middle son works at Edelbrock currently. My oldest son is a wrench. I really didn't want them to be doing, you know, automotive stuff. I wanted them to have easier jobs. You know, that stuff gets kind of hard. But they're great kids, and I try really hard to understand the inclination towards imports with them, but it kind of escapes me. I'm old school. I like my V8 engines, and I like carburetors, and you know, they make me happy.
Right. So, now your son's working at Edelbrock. With Edelbrock making the big changes soon, what's going to happen? Is he going to go with them, or?
Well, no, he's not. They have extended his department for a while. I don't know what the time frame is, but he's good for the moment. He's been there almost, oh good heavens, I think he started in July, a year, 2 years, can't remember. But yeah, he grew up around the cars. It's all good.
Now Edelbrock is moving back east, aren't they?
Right. Yeah.
So once the family,
and I have to be, before we escape from the kids, I have to tell you that my oldest boy does have a 65 El Camino, and Cameron has a Gen 2 Monte Carlo. So, you know, they do the American and the import. So they're kind of okay. I let them hang out with me once in a while.
So they're bilingual.
Kind of okay.
Yeah, bilingual when it comes to cars, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's all good. You know what? All the cars are good. We all have the same disease. You know, it may be a different strain of the virus, but we're all doing our thing, and we really have to support, you know, all the different genres. I think play with your toys and do it your way, and don't let anybody tell you what you should or should not be doing. As long as you're doing your thing and you're digging it, that's what it's about.
That is
here.
Right. And there too, yeah.
And there.
Right.
I mean, Bob drives a Plymouth, you know. I like him.
Sometimes it's got a Chevy engine though.
And Bob drives things that we still are trying to figure out what they are from time to time. So
that's true too, yeah. All right, Randy.
Yes, and I love the new project, or the new one, the new baby Woody. Super excited to see that one soon.
Got that, and
he's got two of them.
Got the Puma and the see, I'm bilingual.
Yes, and I haven't seen that one either. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing that. That's a little cutie pie, that one.
It's very little, yes. it's one of those cars it's a little fun to get into.
So what kind of horsepower does that tiny little thing have?
It's not rated in horsepower. It's more like kitty cats and stuff. Actually, it's powered by a Volkswagen engine. Puma was an auto manufacturer.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah, Puma was an auto manufacturer Puma in Brazil. And they started out with DKW, which was a European brand. And they made sports cars based on DKW powertrains. Volkswagen bought DKW and basically disassembled them. So Puma worked with Volkswagen de Brazil and created a car around the Brazilian Volkswagens. They took the Volkswagen chassis, much like our kit car manufacturers do here, and built a sports car on the Volkswagen chassis. So it's got a little VW engine in it, puts out maybe 50 horsepower. But they were racing cars.
So my phone, you guys. I'm sorry, my phone just decided to give me a low battery warning.
Okay, well,
So,
we'll get
sorry
things
about
going
that.
just a little
I
bit.
don't know why it just did that. That's full.
You're lucky. That's why. All right, Randy, behind you are some pictures of
I'm a
Mopars.
problem child
Oh,
today.
yes.
You are. We always are. Randy, tell us about the Mopar behind you.
Okay, so there's a couple Mopars behind me. You see that 68 Dodge Coronet 500 and
Right.
also the 64 Dodge Polara
Yeah.
with the blue stripes on it. The interesting thing about that is this car right here used to be my car, and now it lives in Sweden. And they have turned this car into kind of like a classic Dodge race car, Mopar race car of years ago. So it's really kind of a nice vehicle. And by the way, for trivia, right there, you see that little red thing on the window?
Yeah, a little heart with an arrow.
You know, it's basically the Plymouth Heart from the late 60s, early 70s. Plymouth,
Right.
we're going to win you over this year.
Okay.
And that is the logo of Chrysler Performance West, a car club I belong to. And I also MC Spring Fling every year. This last year when nobody did much of anything.
Right.
But so that logo and that car is currently in Sweden. So that's the interesting thing about that. So this, of course, is the former, let's see, this is one mean 64 is what it used to be. So now it's one really cold and mean 64 because it's in Sweden, but nonetheless. So yeah, those are the cars there. And I'm sure somebody here owns that nice 68 Dodge Coronet RT. So that's a really nice car. You don't see a lot of those here. Yeah, you don't see a lot of those here.
No.
I really like your wagon though, Randy.
Oh, thank you. Let's see. I don't know if I have a picture of that.
Yeah, I like that car.
Don, I decided to put a picture up of the Puma so you can see what that is.
Kind of looks like something else, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's got a lot of influence from European sports cars and such. And it's
I think that car is such a TV.
It's going to be fun. Working on the lights. A friend of mine, Patrick Hall, the wire wizard, came over today, and we tried to sort out the lighting issues. And there's a few things I'm going to fix that he guided me on, and we'll get this thing up to snuff and going. That's not my particular one back there. Mine doesn't look that tidy just yet, but we're working on it.
Well, yours isn't red, is it?
Oh yeah, it's red.
By everyone in the neighborhood.
Yeah. I'll show you. I didn't want to show you because I haven't got as good a picture of the Puma as that one is. So I'll pull one up and we'll get it here. Let's see.
So Randy, what have you been doing? Oh,
wait a minute. There we go. Now we have it for you. This is my little wagon. This, of course, well, sort of. It's a 1957 Pontiac custom safari wagon. Think Nomad, except the rare custom safari angle to it. So this is at a show up in Oxnard a couple of years ago.
Yes, at Vista Ford. It was Collector Car Appreciation Day.
That's right. And we appreciated it. It was nice. It shines up well. So, you got to bring it. It's a fun car, and it's certainly neat, and it's rare. So you don't see a lot of them around. Yeah. So that's one of the things.
That's awesome, right? When we get to see cars that we don't see every day.
That's right.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So it's fun.
Yeah.
It's got an original Pontiac engine under it. It's supposed to be a 347. We measured it when we rebuilt it, and it apparently has a 316, which is the 56 engine. But, it's an original Pontiac. It's got a tri-power on it. So, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
All right, Don, in the background now is my actual Puma.
Yeah.
In the back is my actual Puma.
Yeah.
So that's it. And then
does that have a glass roof?
Yeah, it's got a sunroof. Yeah.
Oh wow.
And that's factory?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes, there were the only option.
I remember when you got it.
The only options.
I remember when you got it, but
Go ahead.
Oh, I'm so sorry, but I hadn't seen pictures in a while, so.
Yeah, the only options on this car were the engine, the transmission, and the front suspension. They didn't come with the car. It was sold as a kit.
Okay.
And you got to put it together.
Oh.
And this one was never finished.
Okay.
So I'm in the process of trying to finish
and tell
it.
me again what year that is.
We're not sure. The chassis numbers equate to a
sure?
No, the chassis numbers equate to a 1950 Beetle.
Now you're really just confusing everybody.
I know. And the engine's 1971 and have no idea.
Remember, I couldn't count the points for Steve's Steve's group at the track. So now you're throwing all that at me too. You can't do that to me, Bob. You know that.
But I do it all the time because it's so much fun. Well, I know that.
Like I said, you're confusing everybody, Bob.
You get to see my eyes roll back in my head, right?
Yeah.
Oh, there it is.
And there's the latest. There's the 1929 Ford.
Yeah. Have you taken it out?
Yes, I did.
Where did you take it?
Just I don't have plates on it yet, so I just drove it around my complex because we have it's a private complex, so I don't have to go on the streets.
So what's going to be its first event?
It depends on when I get it registered and running. Right. I had a little bit of a hiccup with it this morning when I started it up. I think the carburetor needs to be. It's been parked for a long time. The owner is ill, so the car hasn't been driven, and I think the carburetor's a little gummed up. So I got to take that apart, clean it out, and hopefully that'll take care of it.
Mm-hmm.
But the goal is to get it licensed within the next week. So it came in from another state, and because of that, it's not licensed. So we'll get that taken care of.
Yeah.
So what you're doing is you're
Don't you love
inviting
no
everybody.
smog?
Yeah.
So what you're doing is you're inviting everybody who sees that vehicle on the road to immediately call up their local gendarme and have you arrested
for driving an illegal vehicle. Yeah.
Exactly. Okay. Yeah. Good. Glad we figured that out.
Yeah. So it's 1929, but Don, it's Chevrolet powered. Partly.
Yes. Amen.
It's also powered. It's also powered by a Mercury Marine engine.
Oh, it's an amphicar.
Yeah. Well,
wait, what?
The Chevy 2 4-cylinder that came out in 1962 was used by General Motors until 1970. It was the base motor in the Novas. Now, not many people went for that motor in the later Novas. It just couldn't get out of its own way. Well, Mercury Marine saw the benefit of this little compact 4-cylinder, and they still produce it today as a Merc Marine 150 horsepower 4-cylinder inboard motor. So that's
just asking, is there anything you don't know? I mean, it's like
yes,
Bob Beck's Tech Talk.
I don't think he knows.
I love listening. So fun.
I've forgotten more than I remember. But every time I learn something new, something has to leave. So, I never know what I'm going to know when I forget it.
I ask the kids now things because, they got big enough to do stuff. And so I thought, okay, well, I don't need to do this anymore. And if I don't need to do it, I don't need to remember it. And the silliest stuff I forget, but I'm okay with that.
Don't worry. What they'll do is they'll put a little note on in your shirt that'll have the address so you can get home at night.
Okay, Bob. That you're cute. You're cute.
I'd like to apologize.
You know what, Randy picked on me earlier, so I guess that was your turn. Okay.
Yeah.
I'd like to apologize for all the hazing you're going through right now. By the way, send your letters to what's the name of this show again? Wait, what?
Yes.
GAAS. Send GAAS care of Bob Beck at 479 Sornum Street in beautiful downtown Costa Mesa.
Yes. Yes, that's it.
07103.
Hey, I think we're gonna call it a wrap. Thank you very much for being on with us tonight. Randy Kerdoon from KNX 1070 talking about cars, part of the Two Tired Guys Productions, plus one.
By the way, we also have a new show coming up here this week. Yes, we do. And we are going to do another one of our award-losing TV cars and movie
really?
cars shows where we
good.
talk to normal people like Dawn and other people, and not like you and me, Bob, because but they have TV and movie cars, and we will get a guided tour of their specific vehicles, which I believe this time is based on the old Magnum TV show, the one with Tom Selleck in it, and not the one that's Jay Hernandez, and they blew it up in the first episode. We're talking about the Ferrari 308. Also, one of the Transformers cars, we're going to the original Bumblebee, which I believe was, well, no, this would be the Camaro original Bumblebee. Right. So, and a Pee Wee Herman bicycle clone. Words I never thought I'd say in the same sentence. Yeah, words I never thought I'd say in the same sentence. Pee Wee Herman bicycle clone. That'll be coming up. And of course, we also have previous guests, the guy in Texas Metal, Bill Carlton, also Justin Anna Scribner. We have Fluffy in there, Gabriel Iglesias, all sorts of interesting people. Go to the radio.com app, knx1070.com for the audio version. There you go. Or on the video, you can see it at our Two Tired Guys Productions YouTube channel. How's that for exciting graphics? That was right up to our spending. Yeah, it's right up to our budget, right there. I like that. Here. And these are available. So if you'd like to get a Two Tired Guys shirt, let us know. Here at Two Tired Guys, contact me on Facebook. Right. Those shirts are for sale.
Guys, I might lose you.
Oh.
Because my battery's going, but I wanted to say thank you so much for having me, and I was very flattered at the invitation. You guys, you're the best. Love you. All right. Love you both.
On that note, before her battery goes dead, I'm Hot Rod Bob, Randy Kerdoon, Don Cood. Thank you very much for watching GAAS, the Great American Auto Scene. We'll be talking to you again soon. Thank you much, folks. Have a great day.